What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 20 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 20 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which should be a link down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $250 just yesterday, and another member who won $300 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to Christopher Penrose J5N who said my guy. So shouts out to him, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. So when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're talking about is none other than Tiffany Hayes for 12.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now looking at Tiffany Hayes, we actually have seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, we do see on July 30th faced off against Atlanta, had 15 points there. August 1st faced off against Washington Mystics, had 0 points in that matchup. Then against Las Vegas Aces, had 14 points on August 7th. Then August 10th faced off against LA Sparks, also had 8 points there. Then 17 points against Connecticut Sun on August 12th. So it is pretty interesting to see, obviously looking at, where Tiffany Hayes has, or how she has done over the last 5 games, it has been a little bit interesting there. But looking at this matchup, we do know when it comes to Tiffany Hayes and the Golden State Valkyries, they do find themselves with a matchup against Washington Mystics. Now, I do also have to mention before we get into the rankings between both these teams, Tiffany Hayes has also averaged over the last 5, 10.8, so slightly below this line as well. So I thought that would be pretty evident, or something to definitely be wary about. But looking at this matchup, we do know, looking at the rankings of both of these teams, we have seen Golden State Valkyries actually do a fantastic job so far this season. We have actually seen them average, some pretty decent numbers, but we do rank them, or they are ranked actually 7th in the WNBA. And not only are they ranked 7th in the WNBA, but they are also ranked 4th in the actual Western Conference. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at where their record does stand, they do have a record of 16 wins and 15 losses. So they have actually done a fantastic job there. But looking at this matchup more in depth, we do also know that they have actually, a 51.6% win percentage. On top of that, they are 10-5 from home, 6-10 from away, and are currently on a 2-game win streak as well. So it has been pretty interesting for Tiffany Hayes and Golden State Valkyries. They have been able to, do pretty decently, and they are hanging on and trying to make that playoff run. But looking at their matchup, which is none other than Washington Mystics, we have actually seen Mystics fall quite a bit, because Mystics now find themselves in the 10th spot in the WNBA. Not only do they also have the 10th spot in the WNBA, but they also rank 4th in the Eastern Conference. So they are in the other conference. They have a record of 14 wins and 17 losses. That's a 45.2% win percentage. On top of that, they are 9-6 from home, 5-11 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So it is pretty interesting there. Now, looking at this next one, we do know at Washington, looking at them defensively, we do know when it comes to points allowed, they do actually rank 6th. So they actually rank pretty well when it comes to restricting points. Nothing really too major, but a big reason why we do like the under for this situation here is that when we look at Tiffany Hayes and her position being a guard, we actually do see that Washington Mystics do a fantastic job at restricting points to the guard position. season. And for that reason, we are definitely expecting someone like Tiffany Hayes to suffer here. When we look at Washington Mystics, they just have done a fantastic job all season, and we definitely are expecting that to continue on into this next game. Now, Tiffany Hayes, I wouldn't say is, the star player for this team, but she definitely is a big part of this roster. So that's why coming into this matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting one, but we are expecting, some of that defensive attention to definitely be on her. So looking at Tiffany Hayes, we do know, looking at, her last 5 games, we actually did see her face off against Washington Mystics on August 1st and actually had 0 points in that matchup. So the fact that she did go 0 in that matchup as well, we are expecting her to kind of have a similar scenario in a similar situation and go on the under once again. So proof is in the pudding there. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the under. Tiffany Hayes, 12.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about Skyler Diggins. The Skyler Diggins, great player, and this one is for 5.5 assists, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Skyler Diggins, we actually have seen her go on the under in, 1 out of the last 5 games. Looking at those 5 games, we do see on August 2nd, faced off against LA Sparks, had 6 assists there. Then August 4th, faced off against Indiana Fever, had 4 assists in that matchup. August 6th, faced off against Minnesota Lynx, had 7 assists in that matchup. Then also 6 assists against Las Vegas Aces on August 9th. And then August 11th, faced off against LA Sparks and had 6 assists there. So it has been pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Skyler Diggins, we have definitely seen her, go on the under only 1 out of the last 5, but her average over the last 5 is also 5.8. So although she has been able to go consistently on the over, we actually haven't seen her or her average over the last 5 be that much over. Some of those games she only really made it over by 0.5 at times, but we still do like the under for this one. But getting more into detail about Skyler Diggins, Seattle Storm do face off against Atlanta Dream, which is going to be an exciting game. But looking at where both of these teams do lie, we do know Seattle Storm do come in at the 8th spot in the WNBA. Not only do they rank 8th, but they do also rank 5th in the Western Conference. They have a record of 16 wins and 16 losses. That's a 50% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 8-8 from home, 8-8 from away, and are currently on a 5-game losing streak. So it's definitely been interesting to see there. Obviously, looking at Skyler Diggins, we have definitely seen her do a great job so far this season, but we do know Seattle Storm face off against Atlanta Dream, or Atlanta Dream do come in at the 3rd spot in the WNBA. So Atlanta Dream have been on an absolute tear lately. Not only do they rank 3rd in the WNBA, but they also rank 2nd in the Eastern Conference, which gives them a record of 20 wins and 11 losses. That's a 64.5% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 10-4 from home, 10-7 from away, and are currently on a 5-game win streak. So it is pretty interesting to see there. Now, obviously, coming into this matchup, we do know, looking at Atlanta Dream, we see that Atlanta Dream do actually rank 4th when it actually comes to assist allowed. So they actually do a very good job at actually restricting assists. They actually tie, with the 3rd spot, but, they do put them at the 4th, but they do have the exact same assist allowed. And that's why we do very much like the under for this situation here. Although Skyler Diggins has done very well over the last 5 games, you do also have to realize some of those matchups were against much easier teams, especially in the assist department, but it's definitely going to be a different story because they do face off against Atlanta Dream, who not only do a great job at, restricting assists, but also do a fantastic job at restricting assists to the guard position. So for that reason, I do very much like the under for this situation here. So definitely keep an eye out for the under for this one. Look at what, what is really out there, because we do also see that when we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have our favorite for the under as well. So that works out in our favor there. So Skyler Diggins, 5.5 assists for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about Tina Charles. So Tina Charles, great player, as we all know. And this one is for 16.5 points. And this one is for less. Now, looking at Tina Charles, we actually have seen her go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, we do see on August 2nd, faced off against New York Liberty, had 15 points there. August 4th, faced off against Liberty again, had 17 points. Then actually August 6th faced off against Phoenix, had 16 points in that matchup. And then after that against LA Sparks on August 8th had 19 points. Then 8 points against Las Vegas Aces on August 11th. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at that, we have actually seen Tina Charles, go on the under in not only in just 3 out of the last 5, but her average over the last 5 is also 15. So, pretty significantly under her line. Now, coming into this matchup, it is definitely going to be an exciting one because we do see that Connecticut Sun and Tina Charles faced off against actually Chicago Sky. So it is definitely going to be an exciting game there. But when we look at this matchup and looking at their rankings, starting off with Connecticut Sun, unfortunately, we have seen Connecticut Sun really suffer so far this season because they come in at the 13th spot in the WNBA, which is last, and also on top of that, they also do rank last in the Eastern Conference. Sorry. So, they have definitely really suffered there. They have a record of 5-26. That's a 16.1% win percentage and also 4-11 from home, 1-15 from away, and are currently on a 5-game losing streak. So it's definitely interesting to see there. Now, obviously, Connecticut Sun and Tina Charles, they face off against Chicago Sky. And Chicago Sky, unfortunately, aren't really doing any better. They actually come in at the 12th spot in the WNBA. Now, they have a record of 8 wins and 23 losses. That's a 25.8% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 5-11 from home, 3-12 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. So it is pretty interesting to see in that sense. Obviously, looking at Tina Charles and also, their matchup against Chicago Sky, we do see that Chicago Sky do actually rank 10th when it comes to points allowed. So why do we like the under for this situation? And a big reason being is that when we actually look at someone like Tina Charles, we do also see that, Chicago Sky do actually a fantastic job at restricting points to the center position, which is what Tina Charles is. That's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. For someone like Tina Charles, not only have we seen her go on the under consistently as well, as we definitely see her being a big factor coming into this game. And a big reason being is that when you actually look at it more in depth, you do also see that obviously your usage rate has been on the lower side. Connecticut Sun just haven't really been doing too well, and I think Tina Charles' usage rate has definitely suffered quite a lot. So we definitely see that being a factor as well, on top of Chicago Sky just doing a great job against centers. So with all those things being said, we are definitely sticking to the under for this one. So all signs point towards the under for this one. So Tina Charles for 16.5 points for less, I think is a great pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player going to be talking about is none other than Rachel Banham. So as you all know, Rachel Banham is a fantastic player for none other than Chicago Sky. And she's done a fantastic job so far this season, averaging 9.5 points, 1.4 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and also 0.6 steals. So we definitely have seen her do a great job there. Now, when we look at someone like Rachel and Chicago Sky, we do know they have themselves a very interesting matchup against Connecticut Sun. Now, this one's going to be an interesting one because looking at where both of these teams do rank, starting off with Chicago Sky, we actually do know Chicago Sky do come in at the 12th spot in the WNBA. And not only that, but they also rank 5th in the Eastern Conference. Now, they have a record of 8 wins and 23 losses. So that's a 25.8% win percentage. Pretty low in that retrospect. And they also have a record of 5-11 at home, 3-12 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. Now, they face off against Connecticut Sun, where Connecticut Sun do come in at one slot below because they rank 13th in the WNBA. Not only that do they rank 13th in the WNBA, but they also rank last in the Eastern Conference and last in the WNBA as well. So they have a record of 5 wins and 26 losses, a 16.1% win percentage. And on top of that, they're also 4-11 from home, 1-15 from away, and are currently on a 5-game losing streak. So it's definitely been tough for both of these teams. Both haven't really done too well. But when we look at this matchup even further defensively, we do also know that Connecticut Sun do rank 12th when it comes to points allowed, 11th when it comes to assists allowed, and then when it comes to rebounds allowed, they also do rank 12th. So unfortunately, we have seen that Connecticut Sun has definitely done a pretty poor job defensively, and that's why coming into this matchup we do very much like the over for someone like Rachel Banham. Now, as you all know, Rachel has definitely been a big player for the Chicago Sky team. Now, she does have a bit of a higher usage rate in points and assists, and this is just based off what we are expecting from PrizePicks. PrizePicks tend to not really release lines, especially for players that have a bit of a lower usage rate compared to, their averages. So that's why I would focus a little bit more on points and assists, as we are more likely to expect a line to come out for someone like Rachel in the points and assist department, since she does, have a little bit of a higher usage rate there. But definitely keep an eye out for the over for her. But when we look at her last 5 games, we definitely have seen some pretty interesting matchups. We did see on the second against Golden State Valkyries, had a 73-66 loss with 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists there. Also against Phoenix Mercury on the 4th, actually had an 83-67 loss with 2 points, 1 rebound, and 2 assists there. And also on the 6th, faced off against Washington, had a 78-64 win with 5 points, 1 rebound, and 4 assists there. Then against Atlanta on the 8th, had an 86-65 loss with 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. Then against Indiana on the 10th, had a 92 and had 11 points, 0 rebounds, and 3 assists there. So it's definitely been pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Rachel, we have definitely seen her, do a great job in some games. Other games hasn't really done too well. But with a matchup like Connecticut Sun, we don't really see her having an issue there. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the over for Rachel. But like I mentioned, I think points and assists is definitely where you want to, have a bit of more focus on. So, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Jacy Sheldon. So, Jacy Sheldon, great player, as we all know, from none other than Washington Mystics. And she's done a fantastic job so far this season, averaging 7.6 points, 1.9 rebounds, 1.9 assists, and also 0.9 steals. So, she's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, we do also see when it comes to Washington Mystics, they have themselves a very interesting matchup against Golden State Valkyries. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting game between both of these teams, but looking at where both of these teams do actually lie, starting off obviously with Washington Mystics, we have seen Mystics do a great job, so far this season. Nothing really too crazy, but definitely still decent. Now, they do come in at the 10th spot in the WNBA. Now, when it comes to Washington Mystics, they were ranked a little bit higher, just a short minute ago, but they have caused themselves to have a little bit of a losing streak as of lately, and it has definitely affected their record and dropped them pretty far down. Now, they do rank 10th in the WNBA, but still rank 4th in the Eastern Conference, and they have a record of 14 wins and 17 losses. So that's a 45.2% win percentage there, 9-6 from home, 5-11 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak as well. So, looking at the other side, we see Golden State Valkyries are a little bit better as they come in at the 7th spot in the WNBA. Now, they actually have, a bit of a better record of 16 wins and 15 losses. And on top of that, they also rank 4th in the Western Conference, so they are in the other conference there. Now, they have a 51.6% win percentage. They're also 10-5 from home, 6-10 from away, and are currently on a 2-game win streak. So both of these teams are trying their best to keep their win streak alive, but coming into this matchup and looking at where Golden State Valkyries do actually rank when it comes to points, rebounds, and assists, we do know, looking at Golden State Valkyries, we do see that they come in when it comes to 2nd in points allowed. Also, when it comes to assists allowed, we see that they rank 3rd, and then rebounds allowed, they do rank 6th. So a little bit interesting there. Now, looking at someone like Jacy Sheldon, we actually have seen her do a decent job so far this season, but with Golden State Valkyries doing such a great job defensively, we do very much like the under for this one here. Now, looking at someone like Jacy Sheldon, we have definitely seen over the last 5 games, we see on the 29th, faced off against Seattle Storm and actually had a 101-85 loss there, and actually had 11 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists in that matchup. Then after that, faced off against New York Liberty on the second and had a 0.3 rebound, 3 assist game with a 78-62 win against them. Then Liberty again off a back-to-back on the fourth actually had a 87-78 loss with 4 points, 0 rebounds, and 1 assist there. Then on the sixth, faced off against Phoenix Mercury, had an 82-66 loss with 7 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists in that matchup. And then on the 11th, faced off against Dallas Wings, actually had a 91-78 win with 8 points, 2 rebounds, and 0 assists there. Now, obviously, Jacy Sheldon has actually, traded or has been traded. She was previously with Connecticut, now is with Washington Mystics. So obviously, especially with a new team, we aren't really expecting her to have, that great of a usage rate just as of yet. There always is kind of that period where players start to adjust to their new teams, and that's what we are expecting still from Jacy. But on top of that, the Valkyries are just a fantastic team defensively, so we definitely see that being a big factor coming into this game. So that's why we do like the under for someone like Jacy Sheldon. I don't really think you need to focus on Eddie, because we definitely do like the under since Valkyries do a great job defensively. So keep an eye out for Jacy Sheldon's line. I see a lot of value there to go on the under, especially if the line is too close to her averages. Now getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Chelsea Gray. So Chelsea Gray, great player from Las Vegas Aces, and has actually averaged 10.9 points, 3.9 rebounds, 4.6 assists, and 1.3 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now when we look at someone like Chelsea Gray, we also see that looking at Las Vegas Aces, they have themselves a very good matchup against New York Liberty. So obviously this matchup is definitely going to be an exciting one, but looking at where both of these teams do rank, we do know Aces come in at the 5th spot in the WNBA. Aces have definitely picked up the pace a little bit as of lately. They have been able to up the ranks as of lately, and they currently find themselves also 3rd in the Western Conference. Now they have a record of 18 wins and 14 losses, which is fantastic, and on top of that they have a 56.3% win percentage. They are 10-5 from home, also 8-9 from away, and are currently on a 4-game win streak. So Aces have, been able to pull things together and really start to get a streak going here. And on top of that, they face off against a tough Liberty team, as Liberty do find themselves at the 2nd spot in the WNBA. Now they have a record of 21 wins and 11 losses. That's a 65.6% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 13-4 at home, 8-7 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So both of these teams are looking to keep their win streak alive. Obviously, Aces do have some pretty big momentum on their side, and they are looking to try to continue this streak going. But looking more at defensively where New York Liberty do stand, and looking as we are looking more towards props, we do know that New York Liberty do rank 7th when it comes to points allowed. When it comes to assists allowed, they do rank 8th, and then rebounds allowed, they also do rank 13th. So this one's an interesting one, because although Liberty is a fantastic team, we actually have seen them do a pretty poor job when it comes to restricting points, rebounds, and assists. So for that reason, we do very much like the over for this one, and coming into this matchup, we do very much like the over for someone like Chelsea Gray. Now, as I've mentioned before, Liberty do allow a lot of points, rebounds, and assists, and that may be surprising since they do rank very high. But a big reason for that is that when it comes to Liberty, they do like to push the pace quite a lot. They like to play fast-paced type basketball, and that just inherently leads to a lot more, points, rebounds, and assists. And sometimes it could definitely be on both sides of that coin. So, coming into this matchup, we are expecting Chelsea Gray and the Aces to, experience a little bit more pace, and more pace means more volume. More volume means more opportunity to score, rebound, or even play make. Now, looking at Chelsea Gray over the last 5 games, we did see on the 3rd against Minnesota, had a 111-58 loss. That was a bit of a blowout, had 3 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists there. Then on the 4th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries with a 101-77 win with 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists there. Then on the 7th, faced off against Valkyries again with a 78-72 win with 8 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists in that matchup. Then Seattle Storm on the 9th had a 90-86 win with 13 points, 2 rebounds, and 5 assists there. And then on the 11th, faced off against Connecticut Sun, had a 94-86 win with 7 points, 2 rebounds, and 6 6 assists in that matchup. So we definitely have seen, Chelsea Gray do a fantastic job at times, other times not doing too well. But with a matchup like Liberty, we are definitely expecting more likely that the over will be possible. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the over for this situation for someone like Chelsea Gray. We see a lot of value there for her to be able to go on the over in this situation. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Brittney Griner. So, Brittney Griner, as we all know, fantastic player from none other than Atlanta Dream. And she's done a fantastic job so far for this team because she's actually averaged, 10.3 points, 5.4 rebounds, 0.8 assists, and also 0.1 steals. So, it's definitely been interesting there. Now, obviously, looking at this matchup, we do know when it comes to Atlanta Dream, they have themselves a very good matchup against Seattle Storm. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting game between both of these teams, as both teams have been, very, I would say decent as of lately. But looking at where both of these teams do rank, starting off with Atlanta Dream have been definitely clawing themselves into a really good position because they find themselves coming in at the 3rd spot in the WNBA. So they've been doing a fantastic job there, but not only do they rank 3rd in the WNBA, but they also rank 2nd in the Eastern Conference. So they've been absolutely showcasing what they are capable of, and they actually have a record of 20 wins and 11 losses. So it has been great for them there. Now, looking at, where actually Atlanta Dream do find themselves, we do know Atlanta Dream do actually have a 64.5% win percentage. On top of that, they're also 10-4 at home, 10-7 from away, and are currently on a 5-game win streak. So it is pretty interesting to see there. Now, looking at their matchup, which is Seattle Storm. Seattle Storm have actually found themselves in a bit of a poor situations because Seattle Storm hasn't really been able, to do too well, as they have fallen to the 8th spot in the WNBA. Now, not only do they fall to the 8th spot in the WNBA, but also fall to the 5th spot in the Western Conference as of lately. It has definitely been a little bit tough on them due to the fact that when we look at, their record, they have a record of 16 wins and 16 losses. That's a 50% win percentage. They're also 8-8 from home, 8-8 from away, and are currently on a 5-game losing streak. So it's definitely been tough on them there. Now, looking at Brittney Griner, Atlanta Dream, and their matchup Seattle Storm, we do see Seattle do rank 5th when it comes to points allowed, 6th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed, we see that they rank 11th. So we actually have seen Seattle do a pretty decent job in points and assists, but a little bit worse in rebounds. But coming into this matchup, and especially the way Seattle Storm have been performing as of lately, we do actually like the over for this situation here, as Seattle as of lately have seen a massive decrease in their defensive, rate out there. Over the last 10 games, we have actually seen them fall into the bottom 3 when it comes to points allowed, rebounds allowed, and assists allowed. The ones I did mention are on average of the whole season. Seattle Storm started very, very well. They have fallen off as of lately. A lot of different things happening with Seattle, and it's definitely taken a huge effect there. But on top of that, we also have seen that when it comes to Storm, they do a poor job when we look on a per position basis at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the center position. So for that reason, we do very, very much like the, over for someone like Brittney Griner. We don't really see her struggling there. Now, she's actually, done pretty good over the last 5 games. You did see on the 24th, faced off against Phoenix, had a 90-79 win with 17 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist in that matchup. Then against Minnesota on the 28th, had a 90-86 win with 22 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists there. Then on the 30th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries, had a 77-75 loss with 9 points, 3 rebounds, and 0 assists. Then against Dallas on the 31st with an 88-85 win with 4 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist. And then also had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 rebounds, 2 points, and 1 assist against Phoenix Mercury with a 74-66 win on the 11th. So we have definitely seen Brittney Griner do a fantastic job, and not only that, but has also done a fantastic job, especially against teams that do poorly defensively. So for that reason, we do very much like the over for this situation here. We definitely do like the over for someone like Brittney Griner coming into this game. So definitely keep an eye out for Brittney Griner coming into this matchup. See a lot of value there to go on the over, especially the line is under her averages.